So, a viewer recently left a comment on one of our videos saying that every single time they see a rider like myself wearing a GoPro on their helmets, it makes them shudder. And their reasoning for that was because apparently if you're wearing a GoPro and if you hit your head on the ground after a crash or something like that, that somehow it would snap your neck like a twig. I don't quite understand that logic because, I mean, if any of you know GoPro mounts, they're all plastic. And if you're wearing it on a helmet, you've probably got it stuck on with adhesive. So in the event where your head does hit the ground first in a motorcycle crash, either the mounts or the adhesive would break first. So I don't quite understand where this person was coming from, as, I mean, if you're going to hit your head on the ground, regardless of whether or not you're wearing a GoPro, you're probably still going to snap your neck anyway, depending on the angle of impact. But it did kind of get me thinking about the pros and cons of wearing a GoPro or a helmet cam on your helmet. Yeah, never really thought about this one, but let's see where this journey takes us. So yeah, I don't really know why this viewer was so uptight about wearing a GoPro on your helmet. I mean, my initial motivation for wearing a helmet cam to begin with was for insurance purposes. So if someone knocked you off your bike, you had evidence that it was their fault, you know, you didn't just fall off or something like that, that they actually knocked you over. So from that point of view, having a helmet cam is very, very important, especially if you're a younger rider and you're worried about no claims bonus and things. You want to make sure that you catch evidence of, you know, something bad happening to you, because then the insurance companies can't mess you around. But following what this viewer was saying about the physical danger that a GoPro could have if you are in a crash, well, the biggest concern for me is the GoPro mount breaking and then it going straight into my face. This opening here, this for me is perhaps the biggest worry that I've got. But at the same time, there are loads and loads of videos of people wearing GoPros, they get involved in a crash, their head doesn't even hit the ground, but the GoPro just goes flying off their helmet just because of the violent trauma, I suppose, that the adhesive is having to go through. And it just doesn't hold. In that situation, it just doesn't hold. You know, it's like, imagine if I held my GoPro mount like this and I started throwing my helmet about. It wouldn't hold for that long, would it, you know? And so I think a GoPro in a lot of instances would actually be long gone, maybe even before you hit the ground, or at least before your head hits the ground anyway. So I don't know, but that's the biggest worry that I have, is a GoPro going into my face. I mean, a lot of the time that's why I wear a visor like this. You know, I have at least one visor down to kind of give me a little bit of protection if that were to happen. But to be perfectly honest with you, I haven't had any issues wearing a GoPro on my helmet. It's not very good aerodynamically, and yes, you do feel a bit more weight at the front of your helmet, so it is pushing your helmet down ever so slightly, or the front part of your helmet down, but it's not having that much of an impact on the ride itself. So I think they are certainly worth the investment. You don't think a GoPro, you can get yourself something significantly cheaper. I mean, I have GoPros because it makes the content look more professional, but if you're using helmet cameras just for insurance purposes or for your own sake, then yeah, there's no reason why you shouldn't wear one if you're a rider. Now, I tend to prefer this position of the GoPro. This is where I find GoPros look the most professional, at least the viewing angle looks the most professional. I have seen channels in the past where they wear cameras on the sides of their helmet, but I just don't think that looks as professional in my opinion. But for me, wearing a GoPro certainly outweighs the risk, so to speak. I don't think there is much of a risk, but you know, if you think that it's a risk to your health, or it looks like a risk to your health, it isn't. In my opinion, I don't think it is. I don't think it will have any impact on a crash whatsoever, but I don't know, it's no different to having a dash cam in your car. You know, if you want to protect yourself, you'd have a dash cam in your car. So there's a load of reasons why you'd want to have video evidence of you driving. But I'll tell you what, that is one thing actually that I will say whilst we're here, is if you end up getting the police involved in an incident that you're involved with, and the footage that you have taken has got incriminating evidence against you, then they are able to prosecute you. So even if it's not your fault, the police could still prosecute you if you submit evidence to them of you, say, speeding or something like that. So let's say, for example, if, I don't know, say we're coming up to this junction here and I'm doing well over the speed limit and someone pulls out in front of me, well, obviously it is their fault because they should have seen me. However, if you're going over the speed limit and you can see that on the footage that you sent to them, they may prosecute you as well. So they might get them for careless driving or something like that, but they will probably get you as well for speeding. So it's just one of those things to keep in mind, that it can be a double-edged sword. So if you are going to submit evidence to the police, make sure, or video evidence to the police, make sure that you are not incriminating yourself by sending it in, you know? I mean, one big con to GoPro specifically is, honestly, the amount of times when the GoPros fail on me, or one of them fails on me. It happens more often than I care to admit, which is so annoying, because when you have a production schedule and you're trying to create the content, you don't have time to be fiddling around with GoPros all the time wondering whether or not they're recording. This GoPro in particular, the GoPro Hero 9 Black, it does this weird thing where it looks like it's still recording, but it actually isn't. It isn't recording anything at all. It's crashed, but it still looks like it's recording. On the Hero 7 Black that I used to use on my helmet, which is the one I now keep on my wing mirror there, that actually, it was easier to tell if that one had crashed, because the recording light would stay on. It wouldn't keep flashing, it would stay on, which in that case I would know then that the GoPro had stopped working. So if I noticed it, I could pull over and I could, you know, start the recording again, or format the SSD or the micro SD card or whatever, you know. I can fix it. But with this GoPro Hero 9 Black, it doesn't tell you. It looks like it's working, but it may or may not be working. So yeah, that's just an annoying thing for GoPro. I wish that they would fix sooner rather than later, because a lot of professionals use GoPros for media applications nowadays, so they've really got to up their game. But that's just a rant from me anyway. So guys and girls, I mean, a lot of our subscribers are also moto vloggers themselves, so what do you guys think? Do you think that wearing a GoPro on your helmet is dangerous or not worth it? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this. Me personally, I don't think there are, you know, hardly any negatives to wearing a GoPro on your helmet, in my opinion. Most of the positives outweigh the negatives. So if you're thinking about putting a GoPro on your helmet whilst you ride, it is a very worthwhile investment. Like I said earlier, you don't have to get a GoPro specifically. You can get a cheaper action cam. It'll basically do just as good a job. But I mean, if you want something a bit more professional looking, then I would look at trying to get something that has stabilization built into it, which of course GoPros do, and they do very, very well, their stabilization. So yeah, just keep that in mind. I'll actually leave links in the video description of the GoPros that I use and the equipment that I use. So if you are a motovlogger or an up and coming motovlogger and you want to know what equipment we use, then I'll leave that all in the video description. But yeah, guys and girls, I think we're going to leave the video here. I don't have anything else left to say about the pros and cons of wearing a helmet camera whilst you're riding. But yeah, I honestly don't think you're going to have any problems, alright? If you do decide to wear a helmet cam like I do, the most difficult thing is not the GoPro part, it's actually sorting out the mount. Now, a lot of this depends on the helmet, so some of you are going to have a harder time with it than others, but sorting out the mount is probably going to be the hardest thing for you to do. If you want, I'll link the video that I have at the top there of my helmet setup, so you guys kind of have a reference, but I might do a video specifically on building a helmet mount for moto vlogging. Maybe I'll do that, I don't know. Let me know in the comments if that is something you'd like to see. But yeah, that'll do for today's video, guys and gals. Let us know your thoughts on GoPros, on helmets. Leave a like, hit subscribe, and we will catch you all in the next video. Have a good one, guys and gals.